What's good, my people? So today we're going to be talking about conflict and how to resolve conflict and the best ways that you can resolve conflict. Because a lot of people, they really only know two ways to deal with conflict. They only know to avoid it and to be the type of person that if they have a situation or need to have a conversation or like something's going on that kind of brings some type of conflict between them and another person, they rather go the other way or go around it or just let the other person have their way, which is bad. And then you have the type of people that the only way they know how to deal with conflict is to deal with it with aggression and anger, which is also bad. Now, when it comes to the proper way to actually deal with conflict in your life, because nobody's going to go through life without having to deal with some sort of conflict, whether it's between you and another guy, you and a girl, you and a family member, you and a friend, co-worker, boss. It's going to be somebody that you have a disagreement with throughout your life. And the proper way to deal with these things is to come at it with a diplomatic mindset, a mindset of, okay, the best thing for us to do here is to try to understand each person's perspective. That's going to be the first way that you want to approach the situations, to try to understand the other person's perspective and also try to get them to understand your perspective. Now, this is through talking and actually learning how to listen to people. You know, a lot of people, you hear it nowadays a lot, right? People listen to respond instead of listening to understand. And that's when you get these back and forth conversations where nobody's really going to be able to kind of like get the other person to see their side because everybody's too busy trying to defend their side. So when it comes to conflict resolution, that's the first step. Okay, let's try to understand each other. And then the other part of it is understanding that you guys might not be able to agree, and that's okay also. At some point, you have to be okay with agreeing to disagree with people. Once you learn how to agree to disagree and understand, like, yo, you have your way of seeing it, I have my way of seeing it, and these things are two different ways. They might not necessarily align, but that's okay. You know, either we are able to coexist with our two different points of views or we're not able to coexist. So if it's you and your girlfriend are in a relationship, maybe, this is kind of an extreme example, but she believes in monogamy, you at first maybe you did believe in monogamy, you got some new knowledge, then you think you want to be poly or whatever, right? So y'all decide, okay, we're gonna have a discussion about this, we talk about it, and neither one of y'all can kind of sway the other person to the other side. Okay, you agree to disagree, and this is a situation where two people that have these two different points of views, you're not going to be able to coexist in a relationship. So then y'all have to separate, and that's also just growth and maturity and understanding. I know that's an extreme example, but that's just kind of a thing that happens in our daily lives, whether it's Republican, Democrat, blood, crip, whatever, right? There's always people on two different sides of the spectrum that may not necessarily be able to coexist, but that doesn't mean we have to destroy each other, that we have to become aggressive, we have to fight. You know, it doesn't mean that we have to do that stuff. Now, I do think there are times when conflict comes that you might have to react with some form of aggression, but to me, that's not conflict. That's you defending yourself against an attack on you or your family member. That's a whole different type of conflict. I'm talking about two people in a space don't have the same point of view, and you know, for whatever reason, they feel the need to debate their points and to get their point across and tell the other person why they're wrong. And a lot of times, like, you gotta understand, most people don't have the ability to hear new information that goes against their belief system and then change their mind. Most people, you know, it takes a lot of intelligence to be able to do that. It takes intelligence, it takes humility, it takes the understanding that you're always a student of the game. You don't know everything. A lot of people feel like they know everything. A lot of people feel like they're right. you know, and a lot of times you just gotta let them have that. Just, we can agree to disagree. And don't get me wrong, it's gonna be times where you can agree to disagree with somebody and still be in the same space. I can think that the Steelers are the best team. You can think that the Cowboys is the best team. And, you know, we can talk about it, we can debate, we might get even get a little bit loud and passionate about it. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, we can still be cool. We can go get a drink together. We can go, you know what I'm saying, our kids can be friends and play on the same football team. And every time we see each other, yeah, we still talking about, oh, my team better, or no, your team better, or whatever. But we can still coexist and live in that space, because it's not something that's like it's not like one of those like major deal breakers, you know. Another example would be, okay, you live in a state where gun ownership is legal. Maybe you want to be able to have guns in the house, but your girlfriend, she's totally against guns. She doesn't want guns around. This is one of those things where, okay, if y'all agree to disagree on that point, then it's probably best that y'all don't coexist in that relationship together, because it's not going to work, you know. This is where being like equally yoked with people actually comes along, because you have to be equally yoked to be able to like coexist with the people around you. Because if it's not, then you're going to keep having the same arguments, same debates, and it's going to build up resentment for each other. Whether y'all could have just had a respectful conversation in the beginning and maybe decided to just be friends or whatever. So yeah, man, like throughout your daily life, don't avoid conflict, man. Don't avoid it, because it's gonna happen, it's gonna be there. And a lot of times, like, yeah, there's also the point that if you can go around the wall, it might not be best to try to go through it all the time, which is true. But sometimes there's not going to be no way to go around the wall. Sometimes it's going to be there. You're going to have conflict at work. You're going to have conflict in your daily life, family life and stuff. And you're going to have conflict within yourself. And, you know, that was the ones that you got to come to a solution when there's conflict within yourself. When it's like, okay, I'm trying to make a decision. Should I do this? Should I do that? You got to make what you feel like is the best decision in the moment. And then, you know, if it's wrong, come back to it later and fix whatever your mistake was. But you don't want to have like too much internal conflict. You want to have agreements when it comes to like your internal, you know. And that's the same thing with your relationship. Your relationship should be agreements, you know. Your relationship with yourself. When we talk about like our spiritual sides and like our ego side, we want those things to be in agreement. This is how we live in that one truth, you know. You want to have one truth when it comes to yourself. But when it comes to other people, different backgrounds, you know, we don't have to hate each other, we don't have to fight each other, and we can still disagree at the same time. That's the beautiful thing about the world. If everybody had the same mind, thought about the same stuff, the same way, every day, the world would be boring, right? It would suck. We wouldn't even want to be here, you know. But yeah, man, that's all I really got on this one. I hope it brought some value to your life. As always, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Love you. I'm out.